Welcome to this video where the topic is the content aware options in Photoshop. My name's Barry Beckham. Content aware is a feature on a number of tools and techniques such as the spot healing brush, the patch tool, but more importantly in my view, content aware scale, content aware crop, and also content aware fill. Now the software in Content Aware cleverly recognizes the pixels around the area that needs our attention and helps to select the right texture, color and tone. But it also blends them in to the surroundings. Now I'm not sure an explanation like that is really doing justice to these tools. They really are powerful. What we need is to see a demonstration of them in practical situations. In another video we've already looked at the healing brush. When we pick up the spot healing brush, Content Aware is automatically selected from the options at the top of the screen. So if we wanted to effect a repair on highlights such as those I'm touching now, it's quick and easy to do. Now I think the real power in Content Aware is in the Content Aware Fill, Scale and Crop. But I'd like to demonstrate the patch tool as well. It is a tool I never use myself, but that doesn't mean it isn't a powerful and useful tool. Now we'll find it grouped together with the spot healing brush and the healing brush. So if we click and hold, there we can see the patch tool. Once I've selected it, you can see the icon that comes along with it, and at the top of the screen, because we're about to make a selection, we've got the normal icons for any selection we make. This is a new selection. This one we click if we want to add one selection to another. This one if we want to remove one selection from another. And this one if we want to intersect with a selection. I'm going to suggest most of the time it's the first two that we tend to use most of all. We also get one other choice. We can choose either the source or the destination to do our fix. Now I'm going to select source as a start. Now what this means is I need to just make a simple selection around the object I want to repair, and I can just move to the side and allow Content Aware to do the rest. I'll hit Ctrl D and you can see the repair is done instantly. Let's do one up there and we'll move that across just to the right. Ctrl D again. You can see it's doing a good job. Let's get a little bit more ambitious down here with these row of highlights, and I think I'll drag it to the left and see how that looks. Ctrl D. That looks pretty good, although I may want to touch it once or twice with the spot healing brush just to blend it in a bit more. But of course, if we don't feel we've got things right, then of course we can go to our history and we can go back and maybe select another area. Let's try moving the selection to the left and see if that's any better. Ctrl D. I think it probably marginally is. I doubt if we open this picture onto the screen anyone would instantly see we'd been at work with the patch tool. Let's move on to Content Aware Fill. Here's an image that's got a problem right along the top edge. Now I appreciate it wouldn't be a great disaster if we just crop that away. But let me explain what it is. It's actually a fault with my camera shutter. It's been fixed now, but it was a problem where the shutter was bouncing and overexposing the top edge of the frame. But look what we can do with Content Aware Fill. What I need to do to repair this is to pick up a selection tool. It doesn't really matter which selection tool I use. I can use the polygonal, I can use the lasso tool freehand. In this case, given the shape at the top, I could even use the rectangular marquee tool. Let's do that. What we're doing here is saying to Photoshop, will you please fix that area for me? Now we need to go to Edit, Fill, and we're telling the software that we want it to fill, but we want it to use its clever content aware, as opposed to one of the other options in here. Once we select content aware, that will stay in this box until we decide to change it. So let me click OK, and you'll see the power of content aware. Now I hope you'll agree that was pretty impressive, but I've got two images opened up here. Let me go to the next one. I waited an age to try to get this pelican to move out of my shot. You can see the problem I had here. I wanted this one in its pose that you can see. I wanted it over on the left so we had space for the animal to look into the picture, but in the end this bird just wouldn't move. So we're going to move it using content aware. I'm going to select my polygonal lasso tool, and I'm just going to click, move a distance down here, click, I'll go around the edge. I'm not being too fussy here, up the outside, along the top, and we'll join up again. Then edit, fill, content aware will remain there, so all I need to do is click OK, Control D, and we have a brilliant repair. Now there will be the odd time when you use this tool that you may feel the need to pick up the spot healing brush to give the edges a touch here and there, but most of the time it does a really great job on its own. So here we've got another image completely. Now let's get very ambitious here. Let's remove the entire tree. I'm just using my lasso tool, edit, fill, OK, just waiting for the software to do its work, and there we have it. This is a really great tool, but let's take a look at content aware scale. Now we saw this picture earlier on when I demonstrated the patch tool, and we did remove some of the highlights in the image. But if we look at the image and ask ourselves what is the problem with it, we could decide that the author of this, me, took their eye well off the ball when it comes to composition. If I pick up my crop tool, for example, and click into the picture, we can see the bird is almost dead center, and really it would be much nicer if the bird was over on the right hand side, maybe intersecting those two cross parts of the rule of thirds. Well, I think content aware scale is going to allow us to do that. I've got my layers open on the right hand side. It's a locked layer, and what I'd like to do is to add some canvas on the left hand side, but I need to add blank canvas, and to do that I just need to remove the lock by just clicking it. When I do that, I can go to my image menu at the top of the screen, top left, and I want to choose canvas size. Now it doesn't really matter how much we put on the width here, because we can always trim off anything we don't want later. In fact, it's probably a good idea to give this more than we actually need. So what I'm going to do with this anchor box here is to anchor my picture to the right. So what I'm effectively saying here is, when I adjust the width, put all of the width on the left hand side. Without that box it would put the width on the left and the right, and we only want it on the left. So how much extra do I need? Well, I don't really know, so I'm going to guess. I'm going to say push that let's round that to 26 inches, 27 to 89, 30. I'm going to make it 34 inches, and when I hit the OK button and I'll hit Control 0, you can see exactly what that just did. So now we need our content aware scale. I'm going to go to my edit menu, and there it is, content aware scale. A bounding box appears around the image, but only around the image that contains pixels, not the blank area. What I'm going to do is to drag out this to give myself more space on the left. Now there's a limit to how far I can go, of course. If I go too far, I start to affect the beak of the bird. So let me escape that and do it again, so I know exactly where I'm starting from. So what I want to do is really put as much here as I can, but without going too far. I'm going to go that far and hit the tick on the options bar. Now I'm going to go back to my crop tool, and now I can crop the image, and my composition is near perfect. And to make sure we've not done any damage, let's zoom into the beak of the bird. Everything look okay? It looks fine. A powerful tool, Content-Aware Scale. Now let's turn our attention to Content-Aware Crop. Here we have a great image of a darter. My wife shot this image and we've got some composition here, but it would be nice if the bird was a little more to the left, or we had a little more detail on the right hand side. Well, let's see if we can do that using Content-Aware Crop. I'm going to drag my crop outside the picture surface. I don't want to go too far, but I think that will do it okay. While I'm here, I'm going to bring that side in about an appropriate amount, so I'm helping the composition along. I think I may even bring that down a little bit too, but it's this side which is the important part. We need to make sure the little box at the top of the screen is ticked Content Aware. Hit the tick, sit back and watch the Photoshop magic. I hope you'll agree the Content Aware tools are pretty impressive, but particularly Content-Aware Fill, Scale and Crop. The image I currently have on screen is an image that was shot with an extremely wide-angle lens. There was a lot of distortion in the image, and because I left my car parked in it, that did show it up quite badly. I used the transform tools in Adobe Camera Raw to fix all of the problems, and that is what left that gap at the top, the right and the left and the bottom left. By the way, this is an infrared image shot with a converted camera, but that really doesn't alter what we're going to do here. The important thing is I want to fill in the areas around the outside of the picture rather than having to crop it. So I'm going to give Content-Aware Fill a bit of a test. From my selection tools, I think I'll choose the polygonal lasso tool. I'll start here and I'll go down to that point, and then around the edge. I won't do all of them together, I'll do them one at a time. Let's not put too much pressure on the computer I'm using. But once I've got the area marked out that I want Photoshop to fix, Edit, Fill. Content Aware is still in the content, so all I need to do is to click OK and just give it a little while to do the job. Control D to remove the selection. Did a pretty good job there. Okay, let's try the top. Once again, polygonal lasso tool. I'll go right across the top this time, up and back. Edit, Fill. I'll hit the enter key just for a bit of speed, because you do start to get faster at doing these things once you get used to how things work. And there we have another fix that would pass muster. Final one. I think this one may tax it a little bit, but we'll see. I don't know for sure. So Edit, Fill, Enter, and fingers crossed as Photoshop does all of its work. Control D will remove the selection, and there you can see we have a tiny little problem, but nothing we couldn't fix. With the spot healing brush, there's a little touch there, a couple of touches down there, and we would be done in no time. And the little mark up there is the moon, but it's so small I think it's actually just looking a bit odd. Transform, Aware, Fill. Brilliant. I've been using Photoshop for almost 25 years now, and over that time I have to say it's taken more and more to impress me. But I think ContentAware, Fill, Scale, Crop, and what we see with the Spot Healing Brush and the Patch tool are pretty impressive. I hope you'll agree.